Hey guys, welcome back. Let's today talk about if you're manifesting a specific person or an ex-back, or manifesting a specific person that's a preferred version in your reality. A very key component, and a lot of this is coming up as a consistent theme in my tarot community, and I've gone through this with a couple of my clients and actually we've had pretty amazing results. But the key to manifesting what you prefer, consciously manifesting, is knowing something is already yours. You're knowing it as much as you know when you're checking for validation that something isn't. And this would include also certain behaviors, etc., that you are engaging in. For example, I had clients recently that were talking about that they're manifesting an SP, and then they are looking at their SP's social media or their Facebook and wondering why their SP is doing and thinking certain things, and whether or not their SP is like going to delete them or not delete them, or why they haven't reached out to them, etc. That's an acceptance that something isn't yours, right? So in this video, I'm going to show you how to let go of an old story, and this is so key, and this is something that I see consistently coming up. So an old story would be if you're checking, say, social media, checking your phone, you're affirming my SP is in love with me and we're together, but then you're going like, why haven't they reached out? What's going on? You're basically affirming an old version of a person that's like rejecting you or doesn't want you. So you can't manifest from a place of desperation the result that you want. You're only manifesting from an acceptance of a truth. And I did a live stream about this earlier in the week or yesterday. In the end of the day, you need to understand that what you're embodying, where your focus is, your thoughts and your assumptions about yourself and them is what is key. And you're shifting states all the time, but wherever your focus is, you're going to get validation and confirmation. So I'm going to give you practical practices that you can use today to anchor in your preferred identity, the one that is in the knowing that you already have the thing, because we've talked about this in other videos. You have everything through you, and once you consciously make the shift, everything will materialize through you. It's a state of being, the state of having or not having, right? And this is exactly what I teach inside my program Shifted. So for any of you that haven't checked it out, this is a full-blown identity transformation course that takes you from the wanting to the having a specific person, and also could apply to any area of life, but it really expands your conscious awareness into being the operant power in your reality, which you already are. So you're always manifesting, guys, but this is about taking you to the place where you understand that you can manifest anything that you desire and that you're limitless. So let's talk about manifesting from desperation, and so why this creates delay, perceived delay, or unwanted conditions and circumstances. So desperation comes from the illusion of separation. I covered off that in a video earlier in the week. Basically, you're looking at your specific person or your desire or desired version of your specific person like that's something separate from you, or you are potentially putting them as someone that is on a pedestal or something that is unattainable, or in some kind of a way impossible. And so you're waiting for them to give you permission to feel chosen, feel loved, accepted, committed to, etc. Now that is in itself a state, right? Like it's like you are in a state of waiting for someone to choose you. Equally, there's also a state where you are already chosen, and closing the gap is just you making a decision that you're now the identity that is chosen by that person. Most people think that people outside of them are acting independently of them. We've covered this off a lot. So everyone and everything is you push out or a projection, and we can flip this all the time, and they're reflecting you, and you're broadcasting, say in the case of you waiting for someone to choose you, you're kind of like broadcasting from one state that they're not choosing you. So you're basically sending out a signal to your mirror, guys, because in every state you're experiencing mirrors of people. I'm not chosen, I'm not enough, they don't want me, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's exactly what reflects back. You don't select anything that you want from neediness or lack, right? Like if you think about it, if you were together with your specific person right now, you wouldn't even be wondering where they are or what they're doing. We talked about this so much, right? So identity is really the core. And for example, if you are the identity that says, I already am it, I already have it, that is enough. Now you can do reinforcement where you keep your mental diet very clean. You remind yourself that this is who I am. You think about your person in a certain type of way. For example, if you're in the habit of thinking of your person in a certain way, like that they are separate from you or that they don't want you, or you keep going back to old conditions, circumstances, etc., that you perceive as a block, you can reinforce. I am that version of me that is loved. I feel secure. They go over and above to make me feel happy, secure, safe. We have the best relationship, etc. But it's really just like you just getting into the acceptance of something that is already yours, rather than clinging, begging, chasing. And when you decide in that moment that the version of you that you prefer is who you are now, which already exists in consciousness, and everything outside of you is the mirror to whatever state of consciousness you're in, that is when you are going to get the flip. Now, anyone that's been in my shifted course has already reported a lot of amazing results and seen shifts very, very quickly in their reality. But sustaining these results really is all about encompassing the ultimate identity that knows that this is not something that is just going to be taken away from you. So it's not just about doing like a million techniques, right, to get a fast result, but it's about like knowing who you truly are. So if you're seeing results, well, it is because you shifted into a state, and then it's about sustaining a state, right? So knowing who the fuck you are. If you've been able to achieve a shift consciously, you should know that you're able to sustain that shift consistently, right? So assumption is knowing or having faith that you have something before evidence shows up. Then evidence usually shows up, right? And this can happen in the opposite way. We talked about assumptions in other videos, like why do we form them? Sometimes you think this is my truth and it's not very favorable, and it might come from outside sources or certain like conclusions that you have formed that are not serving your higher self or your preferred end. And then forming an assumption to the opposite might feel unnatural, but if you can just like persist with thinking in a certain type of a way, you're going to also get the evidence, and then it becomes like your new normal, right? So in the course, I take you through acting as if, thinking as if, knowing that you're the only one that's the source. For example, the ultimate self-concept, knowing that you're it, you're the only one, the one and only in your personal reality. It's always mirroring you, right? And so knowing this with confidence and devotion to self, and not in a way where you have to be like alone or you have to go on an endless lonely journey of self-healing. It's like with the confidence of knowing that everything is whatever you say it is, having that confidence in self and that conviction that anything can turn around in a moment as you shift. And when you make a decision, this is who you are, the mirror must comply. We can shift through realities really quickly. And then this is a core component of my course, Shifted, right? So the reality that you're experiencing all the time is only a reflection of your thoughts, your assumptions, your identity, and what you are projecting. If you assume desperation, that is a state, guys. Desperation is a state, right? Affirming my person's in love with me and then checking their Facebook and wondering why they are not reaching out to you, well, that's a state, right? Like, or assuming that they love you and then saying that they're hot and cold. Well, if you're more dominantly thinking they're hot and cold, well, that's a state. And if you assume the state of, no, they're in love with me, or we're in a relationship and I'm totally secure and safe, and they go over and above to make me feel that way, that's a state. Without the need for validation, guys, because again, what is a state? It's like an embodiment. So putting yourself in the end is being a version of you that's living in your mind as the version of you that has it naturally how you want, right? So if you were assuming that you're the one and only, which you should, because you really are, guys, like the illusion of it not being that way is just another state, okay, guys? It's all just malleable through you. But your SP is only going to reflect back what you're assuming. So if you assume, well, I am the one and only because every individual state you always are, check out my video on different states of consciousness. My father's kingdom has many mansions, right? Like you're moving through states all the time, but each time you are the center of it, right? So if you realize that you've always been the center, but now you're the center, but in a way where like your SP only wants you and there is no competition, well, that's going to be confirmed to you. No matter what the circumstances or conditions, everything is moving according to you. So the real shift is never about a person or a version. It's about who you decide you are, and therefore what you decide or what role you decide they're playing in your reality. And that can come down to literally just projecting new thoughts about them, which is certainly much more natural and easier when you have a self-concept and an identity that knows that you're in control and that you're the one that's commanding everything and has like a very strong self-concept. For example, let's talk about like affirmation loops, as a technique. So start looping every single day out loud or in your mind for self-concept. My old story is gone. It's finished. I mean, we don't even need to acknowledge the old story, but if you have an old story, some of you in my community keep going back to certain conditions and circumstances, etc., which is really a reflection of old awareness of self. Now you're stepping into an identity that is in your power and has what you want. So I am now the version of me that is chosen. I know that what I choose and want chooses and wants me. I am the God in my own reality. I have no limits. I have no resistance. This is the other thing, guys. Some of you are battling with your mind all the time, ping-ponging and going back and forth and wondering, am I consciously manifesting correctly or incorrectly? The only one that's deciding whether something is right or wrong is you. You're not doing anything wrong unless you say so. So I would say, no, I'm doing everything right because I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm confident. I'm a master at manifesting. I choose my desire, and as soon as I choose it, it is done, and this is the truth. I choose this because it is the truth, and it is mine. Say that to yourself, affirm it, claim it, visualize your desired outcome, which is what you're bringing into awareness consistently in the now. And these aren't just like random vain affirmations, as Neville would call it, or words. They're just declarations of identity. So who are you being, right? Like, are you the version of you that knows you're the operant power and you have what you want? Or are you the version of you that's saying, I have it, and then checking and saying, I don't have it? Or engaging in behaviors that reinforce that you don't have it. Like you're going from my SP is in love with me to checking and saying why, what are they doing on Instagram and why have they not texted me, right? So that's the paradox. So you need to keep yourself in a state, but in the knowing that you're the only one that's deciding, and reality is just like reflecting back where your focus is, and it's going to shift. Things completely shift and mold, in accordance with where your focus is. Have a look at the old story for a moment and assess it, but let it go. So where you feel like there's a fight, rejection, a third party, whatever it is, you can do an exercise. You can write it all the fuck out. Okay, and then, get it all out, all of the frustration, acknowledge it, say this is part of an old story or an old identity, this is how I feel, one version, this is what I've selected, and you can just burn it, and then you can revise it, okay? And now you can say, this is who I am right now, and write the version of you out in the present moment as the version of you that has what you prefer. Okay, so let go of it. Anything that you perceived before, like get clean. Okay, everyone that showed up before was a mirror. Like we're moving all the time, and everyone is mirroring whatever state that we're in. It's like we are projecting and giving them some kind of a role or an assignment, and we can change their role in our reality. So tell your subconscious, or you consciously tell your subconscious, we're done with this story. That's the past perception. And this is my reality now, okay? And this is how this person is now, because they're my mirror, and this is what I decide, and this is the truth. And so let go of resentments, rejection, any of that old stuff. A trigger is you're the cause, the outside's the effect. So it's you clinging to something that was reflected back to you that's part of an old story. So a lot of you in my community that keep talking about you keep getting re-triggered, just recognize it's part of an old self. It's not relevant anymore. The version of you who's already chosen and wanted, what would they think? How would they feel? How would they carry themselves? How would they embody themselves right now? How would they think about their specific person? What is their natural association and assumption about their specific person from a very clean place? Would they be stalking their social media? No. Would they be sitting around waiting for that person to validate that that person loves them? No. They would be living their life with joy and confidence moment by moment, knowing the relationship is already theirs in the now, right? Also self-confidence, it's not even confidence, it's self-concept. God, self, and identity of like, I am the one that's always chosen. So why would you need proof or validation from someone outside you that that is the case? You would get on with joy and you would get on with your day-to-day in the knowing, of course that person's going to text me, etc. And again, guys, this isn't about false confidence. It's literally like you're going to find this very natural. You're going to find like you're in the state, you're getting on with things. This is when time closes. The text you've been waiting for or the date you've been waiting for, it actually comes very fast. But sitting around waiting for like a pot to boil feels very long. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like it's an inevitability. If you were dating someone you felt very confident and secure because you know, of course, that they love you, they want you, you're not waiting around for them to call and wondering if they will or they won't, okay? So if you want to adopt certain techniques, you can write out a list of things that you're manifesting or certain things you want like an SP to do or say. I mean, I've talked about this a lot, guys, about testing your power. Everyone is you pushed out, whether it is an SP or whether it is other areas of life, you know, like writing out certain things that you want to appear in your reality, but understanding that because you're consciousness and you're directing your reality, things are going to start popping up really quickly as much as they were popping up before you were aware. And it's going to build your confidence. So saying, you know, someone's going to show up and say, I'm beautiful, not SP, is as if you write that down, everyone thinks I'm beautiful, you get that compliment, you should have the same acceptance that your SP is going to text you any minute now and say that you're beautiful. It's the same, right? So you're the one, you're the operant power, or test it out with random things. Test it out with a work colleague. I had a client recently that told me, holy shit, Talsy, I did exactly what you said, and I tested it out and a work person turned around and said exactly what I wanted them to say. Why is that, guys? Why? It's because everyone is you pushed out. You are the operant power. You must start understanding your power. You must stop clinging to the outside, and you're only affirming a state in relation to a person as you identify in relation to them. We talked about this on the recent live stream, guys. So again, if you know that a person is madly in love with you and you're together, and that is a state, you are not checking to see whether or not they love you and you're together. It's really that simple. So assumption is just a repeated thought, and the more you affirm your new state, the more natural it becomes. Or I would say an assumption is an acceptance of something being true before it is shown to you. And then it really becomes like a core belief, right? Because a lot of us just like accept things as true, and then we get evidence, and then suddenly that's a belief, and then it gets repeated and repeated. So now you need to create an assumption. Your SP is in love with you no matter what, and repeat that, and then it will be shown to you as evidence, and then it's like, okay, this is fact, okay, as much as it was in the other way, and God knows why it showed up the other way. So this is you living in the end. Scripting, rampaging, visualizations, etc. Those are portals, as I call them in my course, shifted, just to reinforce a truth or an identity that exists now. It's a self-concept and an identity that you are selecting now. It's not a forcing, okay? So when desperation creeps in, snap back into your power, okay, guys, and say, I am the one and only if it's in the case of an SP, I'm all they want. There's no competition in my reality. There literally isn't, guys, okay? It's like you are. In every single room, in every state, you are whatever you say you are. If you say there is nobody else, it's a belief, right? If you say that there's a million third parties, it's a belief. Everyone is going to move around according to you. It's just how metaphysics works, okay? That confidence in yourself, in what you're affirming, in what you're believing is going to collapse time. It's going to eliminate all these supposed blocks, conditions, circumstances, etc. You're not going to be waiting, because waiting is a state as well, guys. Waiting for your SP is a state. You're going to be in the place of being with the SP, being the version of you that is chosen, being the version that is loved, okay? And that is when the outside has to mirror. It's been mirroring the whole time. So this is a conscious choice, and it's about empowerment. So you can manifest anything at any time, because you always are, but manifesting from desperation is not going to do you any favors, because it's just going to keep you in a state of desperation. Lack, waiting, time delay, hot and cold, inconsistent results. So acceptance of a desire the way you exactly want it means choosing the version of you in the now who already has it, okay, and feels fulfilled in the sense of, in the very least, knowing that it's yours. So when you grasp the concept that everything is already yours because you are the commander and you encompass everything, it becomes a lot easier, and that's why I take you through that in Shifted, okay? But letting go of the old story means dropping the past, perceptions, the past where you felt like someone was separate from you, rejecting you, etc., which was a reflection of your old identity. Stepping into your truth now that you're selecting, I am chosen, I'm wanted, I'm the one and only, what I want wants me, I'm the god of my reality, that person's mine, they're madly in love with me. Whatever your end is, guys, if you want more consistent contact, they're blowing up my phone 24/7. If you see yourself as married to a person, we're getting married. Whatever it is, guys, there's nothing standing in your way, with the exception of you thinking against you, and that is it, okay? So you can also, in the case of, I see a lot of you in my community thinking about like all these conditions, circumstances, memories, etc. I go through it in my course, how to completely clear that, revise that, get into the now moment, get the most preferable version of a specific person by shifting your assumptions about them and shifting your self-concept. But like, reality has no choice but to mirror you, including the version of your specific person and how you have decided them to show up, because there's infinite versions of them, and who you decide yourself to be. And if you want help anchoring that identity to the point where it really becomes your new normal, because I really want this to be a lifestyle, not just like a matter of you affirming your entire life and getting patchy results, but really making this like something that is very integral, where you know your power and you're in your ultimate power, and understand that, and you can take control of your reality rather than reacting to it. Then you can have a look at what I've done with Shifted. I take you through everything, the fundamentals of conscious manifesting. What is manifesting? What is conscious manifesting? The embodiment, self-concept, techniques, subliminals, rampages, and also how to transform or have an SP show up differently where you previously had experienced something else from a different identity, okay? So I want to remind you who you really are and why you never have to chase or beg reality to give you what you desire. And I want to get you in a place where reality and your specific person chases and chooses you, because it already exists. Let's get you into the knowing state, not the wanting state. It's available now. I love you guys so much, and I hope that message was helpful, and I'll see you guys soon.